Hello everyone, Care Bear here to share with you a finished object. And this is a hat for me for the upcoming winter. In the month of March, I had an opportunity to travel to Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. And while I was in Oslo, I bought yarn specifically to make myself winter woolies for my walking and skating activities that I do here in Toronto. So I bought this yarn with this hat in mind. I had this hat in the queue, and so when I was traveling, I was looking for this specific yarn. And I found this hat on Ravelry, and the reason I picked this Spur hat, and I've never made anything by Hiromi. This is the first time I have used this designer's pattern, but I really liked the crown of this hat. Hopefully you're seeing that. I loved the way it decreased, and so that caught my eye, and I thought, hey. And I also liked how it folded up and gave that extra layer of warmth, because when I'm skating, I skate outside, and I need a pretty warm hat. So I had put this in my queue and thought, okay, now it's May, but it doesn't matter. I continue to knit all year long, and I thought I'm going to start to work on the items for the fall, the items that are gifts for family and friends. But this is for me. So let me tell you a little bit about this pattern. It calls for fingering weight yarn, US 2.5 millimeter needle, or sorry, US 2.5 and 3 millimeter needle if you're using the metric system. Plus, they recommend that you reduce your needle size when you get into this area for the brioche section. And this pattern only has two sizes, so there's small and then a large, I guess. And I decided I definitely have to make the adult small because I have a small head, and I knew I was going to have to stay tight. So I used the yarn that I bought in Oslo, and it's called Arama Garn Lamel. And it's a little bit, it's 100% wool, so it's going to be warm, but it's a bit rustic. And then it did soften when I washed it, and I washed it with a little bit of soak and some patchouli oil and warm water, and then I rolled it in a towel and blocked it to let it dry. But it still has a bit of a rougher feel to it, so it might not be for everybody, but I think I'm going to be fine with it. I used a 2.75 millimeter needle because, one, I knew I was going to need it smaller than the actual size. That size small, I knew I was going to need it smaller. So I used a 2.75 throughout the entire hat. And I don't think I used one ball, 50 grams to make this hat. And let me tell you a little bit about the construction, because it is really unique. So it is bottom up. You start at the cuff, and there was a tubular cast on or Italian cast on, whatever you want to call it. And there you can see that edging. So I did do the tubular cast on, and if you're not familiar with it, I put a link in the description below to one of my go-to technique places. I often go to Nimble Needles or to Very Pink for any technical support, and I definitely did that for the tubular cast on. So I did the tubular cast on, and then you move into knit 2, purl 2 for the ribbing of the hat. I'm just going to turn it around and show you. So there's the ribbing, and you continue on, and they give you for the small, I think also for the large, the same number of inches for that. And this is where I modified. I stopped and I changed it to be a little bit shorter there. Then you move into a knit one, purl one, and you can see it. So there's your knit two, purl two, and then it shifts into this section in here, which is just knit one, purl one. And that kind of gives it even a tighter feel right around this part, because when you fold it, that knit one, purl one is on the inside of the hat, but it's right at the point where it would be the band around your forehead. And so it's a bit snug there, which I like, and I think that was the intent of it. And you do that for a number of centimeters or inches, and then it moves into the brioche pattern, and the designer gives the information on the type of brioche pattern that's used. Again, I use 2.75 millimeter needles, or a US 2, on the knit 2, purl 2, on the knit 1, purl 1, and even on the brioche. I continued. Then you get up to the section where the crown, where it starts to decrease, and so you had to divide and place stitch markers to identify the areas where you were going to be decreasing in brioche before and after those stitch markers. And at first I thought, wow, what's that going to look like, or how difficult is that going to be? So I will tell you, that's something new that I learned, how to decrease in brioche, and it's not hard. I thought it would be more difficult than that, but the structure or the strategy that this designer outlines in the pattern was really easy. So I was really happy with that. I didn't do the brioche pattern as high as they recommended. I kept trying this hat on because it's bottom up. I kept pulling it on to test it. As soon as I got to the point where I was comfortable and I thought, okay, it's time to decrease for the crown, I started decreasing. And I now have my hat for the fall. So once you got up to the top, there was another interesting finish that I will tell you about. So you finished with the brioche. I think you had to do a couple rounds of knitting, and then they tell you to, you're going to be feeding your darning needle through, but the way they tell you to do it is to pick up every other stitch looping through the back. And then when you get around, you pick up the other stitches that you didn't pick up on the first round in the front, and then you pull that needle tight. I had never done that before. So it was an interesting, beautiful finish at the very top. I hope I'm getting that. You can see it. It worked out really well. It's hard to see. This is a bit tweedy, this yarn, but I was really happy with that. And I had never done a finish like that. So I was, yeah, I was really happy. So I'm happy with this little hat. Hats don't look great on me, but I can show you what it looks like. I finished and washed it, blocked it, added my Care Bear Knitwear tag, which on when you fold in half says Bear Wear. And yeah, so here's my hat. Ooh, there we go. My hat for skating for the fall. And I think it's going to be really warm because it has that extra band. I do have yarn left over. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I thought about mittens, but they'd have to be mittens with a liner and knit tighter than a 2.75 millimeter needle or US 2, because I don't think this single weight would be warm enough. It gets pretty cold here, and yeah, I can always put a hood on top of the hat, but my hands are pretty exposed. So I'm not sure. I still have 100 grams left of this yarn, so I'm thinking about the gloves. I haven't decided what those will be, but this is my hat for the fall, the Spur hat, first time knitting by this designer. And would I make this again? Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's a cute knit, and I'm looking forward to finding a pattern to make some mittens to go with it. Thanks for watching.